So we get there, they start digging in the ground, we start digging a little bit in the ground, they take all the tools, they take over, we do nothing except watch them dig in the ground and build the school, and we do a bunch of other stuff that's relationship based and trying to find supplies and all of that. That's one of the things of their culture that you'll notice if you go over there. You will start to do a project, and if they're able to do it, they take over and they take ownership of it. And it's a pretty amazing thing to see. So we consequently did not finish the school. I think we got the walls up, if I remember correctly, most of the way. By the time we came back the next year, the school was almost finished. And that was a team of folks who are not here right now. We had a guy come from Maine or Vermont, I forget. And we had a guy come from Cincinnati, if I remember correctly. Two guys that I knew pretty well. They came out. We just worked really hard to empower what was going on over there. At some point, the roof that was on the school got blown off in a windstorm, so we replanned how to get that back up and shore it up. So now it's up. The school is running. The kids are being taught there. The desks are done. The blackboards are up, and there's almost no supplies in the school. Right? So they have a building. They can get through the classes, but chances are they're not going to pass their exams when they go to graduate out of there to their version of high school. So our goal on this trip is to make sure that all of those things are put into motion to dedicate the school officially. Right? We're going to have some sort of big celebration out there to dedicate the school, to give them hope, to give them passion about their future, and hopefully get a bunch of supplies pouring into the school, get these kids to the point where they're learning and able to continue on. Hopefully sharing with the older kids that when they are successful in life, they come back and pour back into the younger kids that are in the school. So that's the educational process that we hope to take part in on this upcoming trip. We need to try to secure the teachers, right? I said that we lost. I was talking to Mike, who was on the first trip. He asked how one of the people we cared for on the first trip was Agnes. And I said, oh, you know, Agnes is good because I talked to James. He takes care of Franklin, who then goes and Franklin got transferred out of the school. He's no longer a teacher in the school. How are we caring for Agnes? It's been about 2 months since I checked in with James. So I sent a quick message off to Eric, who's the principal. I said, how's Agnes doing? He said she's getting better, which means she's okay, I think. We'll find out when we get there in January. But part of our goal is to figure out how do we make sure that these teachers that we're pouring our lives into, pouring resources into, who want to teach these kids, are not just getting transferred off to somewhere else, and the government just sends somebody new in to take their place for us to train. So we want to start working on that when we get there this year. We're already taking some steps to do that from here, but we can do a lot more on the ground in person. Provide supplies to the school. Imagine you put up a school building that's roughly the size of this room, but longer, and you walk in and you have desks, you have chairs, you have a blackboard, you have some paper, and you have some chalk. It's a pretty boring classroom. Imagine that in the U.S. So we'd like to take that classroom and we'd like to raise the level of their education so that while they're over there, they're absorbing this information, the passions of their heart, the passions of knowledge, and growing. And we'll see how that actually fits in. We've never taken a school from absolutely nothing and brought it up, but we did work in 3 very amazing schools in a village about 5 miles away with another community, and they're doing very well. Emmanuel, do you know off the top of your head how many kids have gone to high school and college by any chance? From Del Tancro? Just a rough number.
25.
25 have graduated past? Yeah, how many graduated before we showed up? 0? Right? So 10, 11 years, we've had 25 kids make it out of the high school experience and pass the exams for the first time ever. So we want to duplicate that. We want to raise the bar even higher, right? We want these kids to be the leaders in this community, to be able to go out and to pass these exams, to go on to their version of college, university, and become leaders in their community, coming back and pouring into the lives of the families, the kids, even the government around them. It's a third world country. You can imagine the corruption in a third world country. We want people who are coming in and pouring positive things into that mix. And how do you do that? You empower them. So we hope to be able to do more of that. The teachers who are coming into Adonai are often coming from 5 to 7 miles away, which is usually about a 45-minute ride. the roads will be a little smoother in the future. They've made some, I don't want to call them promises, but we have hope that the roads are going to be smoothed out. Hopefully not before we get there. Where's the adventure? If it doesn't take us an hour to get to the village. Still have a knee injury from that. But anyway, so we want to create some temporary quarters for these teachers. Now, this isn't their home. This isn't like a hotel that we're putting up where they're going to be in a spa or anything like that. This is a room where they can stay Monday through Friday, teaching the kids. Hopefully there's some electricity, maybe connecting with them outside of the classroom to do tutoring or something, if we can work that out. But they show up on Monday, maybe they leave on Friday, instead of missing maybe 1 or 2 days a week because they can't make the trip in because it rained, or their motorbike broke down, or whatever. Right? So we're going to look into that when we're there. A healthier village. So Mary, I actually was thinking when you were talking, so I didn't hear about much of what you said. I'm going to brag on you a little bit. So Mary's a nurse practitioner. She's over at Raritan Valley, and she's also often down in Princeton teaching. Is that correct? If I lie, just throw something at me. Okay. I lied?
Yeah.
I did lie?
It's the other way around.
It's the other way around. I teach
Tell everybody what you do.
I teach at RV, and I am a nurse practitioner at Princeton University. At a hospital, 109%.
So I shared the facts, I just didn't share them right away. So as the news works today, I just don't do it. So Mary is going to be probably leading up a lot of our efforts in trying to figure out what we can do to bring health benefits, not health benefits government-wise, but health benefits as far as the proper medication, proper medical care for injuries, looking for chronic things, maybe like blood pressure or blood sugar, any of those things that would normally be absolutely impossible to diagnose. We've got some basic tools over there that we can use. I presume we'll have access to the medical center at that point to try to do that. And so we hope to bring some great medical care to those who really need it, who would not get it if we weren't there facilitating that. So the leadership development, if you look, I don't know if you see this page, it's where I'm taking the notes from. So I'm going to skip the leadership development for a second. I want to come back to that. But at the bottom, you'll see the village needs a clean water source. We're this close. Fix the wells again. I mentioned the wells that are there that are 50, 60 years old that we keep pulling apart, fixing, putting back together, and they look like they should last forever, but you have to remember there are hundreds and hundreds of people manually pumping these wells every day. So they come back apart. When a well comes apart, you have to understand that a community was built up around that well. Somebody put a well in, and everybody moved closer to the well. Now you have hundreds of people living around a water source that's not there. And if I showed you a picture of the water source from last year, it's worse than anything I've ever shown before. I did not put it on the brochure. It is not in the slideshow. It is absolutely sickening what they drink and bathe and cook with. So at this point in time, the good news is we can go back in and we can fix these wells. And the past couple of months it's been raining a lot, and because the well is broken, they have fresh water coming off the roofs of their house. We hope to have the well hopefully functional before we come back in January. If not, we'll put it back together. But there is a well that's been drilled in the center of the village. In most of these villages that we're serving, Adanayada, Adarakan, which is about 4 miles away, and then another 4 miles down the road is Rifan Yimso. There are wells in these villages that have been drilled that are not fully functional yet. Reason being, a politician drilled them. Elections are coming up. They'll fix them probably just before the, I'm not being recorded or anything, that's saying this over. So they'll probably fix them just before the elections. That's just the way it works. They will have a solution to the water problem. Electricity has been brought into the villages in the past year and a half. They'll be able to put pumps on there eventually and fill up large tanks and have a water system that's working. But we're going to evaluate what the situation is when we get there to make sure that they have clean water again. So the final thing that I want to talk to before I invite Emanuela, you'll see the leadership development, school, church, and more. I hesitate to talk about this sometimes because I don't know who the audience is. I know just about everybody in this room, so I'll just spell it out. Every last person that you saw standing up here loves Jesus Christ. Right? We are going over there to show love to these people. That's what you do when we love Jesus Christ, right? But part of leadership development is taking the infrastructure that's there in the school, which is highly Christian. You take the local Christians who are involved in the church, and you give them the ability to do things on their own. It shouldn't be us going there, bringing leadership. It should be them developing leadership from within and leading their own people. And we hope to sort of get that rolling, get that flywheel going, so that when it starts spinning, they're growing from the inside out. That doesn't mean building a church in the middle of the village. That doesn't mean doing evangelism in the middle of the village either, filling the tank up and baptizing people, although if they ask, maybe we will, right? It means going in and giving somebody the confidence to be able to say, hey, guess what? I've got something inside of me and I want to pass that on to you. And so we hope to be able to do that. It's very important to me as far as my passion goes. I've had a discussion with just about everybody that's coming on the trip. They know me well enough that's going to be part of what we're doing. So God bless you guys. Thank you. I want to invite Emmanuel up. Hopefully he knew that I was going to do this. See what it is. Please welcome Emmanuel.